Oh, what's up, Guardians? Peace and Grease here, and I kind of want to talk a little bit about the new dungeon Vesper's host. Kind of an impromptu review, but more importantly, kind of a PSA for those of you guys and gals that have not ran it yet. A few things to keep in mind. As far as dungeons go, it's perfectly fine dungeon. I don't hate it. I don't love it. It certainly doesn't blow my socks off, but it is kind of fun the first few times you do it. So I can't really throw any shade at Bungie for that. I will say that some of the puzzles are on the extreme side of things, to say the least. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, you can kind of look up some videos on the icebreaker catalyst requirements. Yeah, a tad on the extreme side, to say the least. Something else to be aware of is that this dungeon is very, very buggy. So understand that going into it. Some of these bugs you can use in your favor. Others are going to 100% count against you. To kind of recount some of my personal experiences with bugs in my 3 clears thus far. Well, at one point, we couldn't get the final boss to spawn. In another scenario, we were running through the dungeon. One of our buddies that we had with us wanted to do the first puzzle, so we went to backtrack, and we weren't that far away from him, to backtrack to help him with that first puzzle, and we got stuck in an airlock. A door in front of us and a door behind us, and neither one would open. So then we had to end up going to orbit and trying to rejoin, and a lot of that back and forth to try and get the damn dungeon to recognize, hey, let us go one way or the other. I would say that the most annoying, the most absolutely aggravating bug that I have personally encountered is the rogue network quest. My quest is bugged out. It's interesting. My buddy and I were on the same exact quest steps. We did the 3 puzzles together at the same time in this dungeon. We were on the same exact quest steps. We took our access token to the first level storage room, and we went to open the secret chest. His quest updated. Mine would not. So now I have to do a whole nother run of the dungeon to try and get this damned quest to update. But for whatever reason, it won't. So now I'm stuck in this step, trying to get past it so I can go on to the next 3 puzzles. Extremely annoying and aggravating, to say the least. What else can I tell you? Oh, yeah. I can't forget this one. If you're going into this dungeon expecting that you're going to get loot, don't. This is probably one of the most stingy dungeons in recent memory. It's extremely miserly. In fact, you can do any other activity in this game and it will be more rewarding than this dungeon. You could do a gambit match and get more loot than this dungeon, which is crazy to me. Let me kind of recount my experience in my 3 clears. My first clear was on my Titan. In this first encounter, I ended up with a piece of armor, singular. That's it. In the second encounter, a piece of armor, singular, again. And in the third and final encounter, I wound up with the special ammo GL, the velocity baton, and the heavy GL. That's it for the entire dungeon clear. 4 pieces of gear. That's it. In my second clear of this dungeon, I used my Warlock. In this first encounter, yet again, a singular piece of armor. That's it. In the second encounter, a singular piece of armor. Yet again. And in the third and final encounter, I wound up with the Icebreaker. Now, nobody is as surprised about this than I am. My RNG in this game is historically bad. Ask anybody that plays this game with me. They will tell you my RNG is atrocious. If it takes somebody 10 runs to get something, it's going to take me 30 to 40. So the fact that I got the Icebreaker on my second clear kind of leads me to believe that maybe it's more common than we think it is. You guys and gals have to let me know, how many clears of this dungeon did you have to do to get the Icebreaker to drop? So moving on to my third clear of this dungeon, I did it on my Hunter. In this first encounter, 1 singular piece of armor, boots, yet again for the 3rd time. The second encounter, a singular piece of armor, boots, yet again. And in the 3rd and final encounter, I ended up with 1 weapon, the velocity baton again. That's it. 3 pieces of gear from an entire damn dungeon clear. That is wild to me. Again, I could run a strike and get more than 3 pieces of loot. I can run a gambit match or a crucible match and get more than 3 pieces of loot. That is wild to me, and I don't know if Bungie intends it to be this way or if it's a bug. But we're going back to like Curse of Osiris, two tokens in a blue, stingy, like miserly. It doesn't make a lot of sense to me why an entire dungeon clear is only going to award players 3 pieces of gear. That screams to me that there's an issue here. But again, we'll kind of have to wait and see what Bungie does. I'm sure Bungie will have things patched up in no time flat. Yes, it's annoying. Yes, it's absolutely frustrating. But I do think that Bungie will have it fixed up pretty quickly. At least I hope. Knock on wood. Fingers crossed. But that's where you guys and gals come in. Let me know down in the comments section. First of all, how many clears did you have to do to get the icebreaker? And secondly, are you seeing that this dungeon is as stingy as it is in my clears? I'd be interested to know. And until next time, peace out.